Begin today the Gemara on Daf Mem Zayin, right at the beginning of the Yamud. Haya echad mem, it said in the Mishnah that someone that's suspected for swearing falsely, he cannot make a shvuah, and instead what happens is, usually the defendant is the one that swears to pater himself, but in this case we transfer the shvuah to the claimant and he can swear and collect the money. And the Mishnah said examples, a person that was caught in the past swearing falsely. Then the Mishnah said, Haya echad mem mesachik b'kuvya, if one of them is a person that gambles, someone that gambles is posel eidos, he's also posel to make a shvuah, and so therefore the same halacha will apply. So the Gemara asks, Hasulam Ali, why is it bringing this case as well? It already brought cases that a person that's suspected of swearing falsely, that we transfer the shvuah to the claimant. So the same applies over here, where this person that's mesachik b'kuvya, he's posel eidos, he's posel for a shvuah. Why is it bringing another case as well? And says the Gemara, Tana psula deiraisa. First, the Mishnah brings cases where the person is pasal menatayre, he's not trusted to swear, and that's when he once swore in it before and lied. And the katani psula derabanan. Then it brings the case of the mesachik b'kuvya, a person that gambles is only pasal derabanan, because the person that gambles is not outright stealing, but because when you gamble, this is what's called a smachta. A person is only gambling because he's playing to win, and when you take money from someone, the other person does not really want to give you the money. So therefore, with the Rabbanon, they were mesakin, that a mesachik b'kuvya is possible for eidos, and also possible to swear. So the Mishnah is bringing this case and other cases as well that the Mishnah says afterwards that are all possible only with the Rabbanon. Okay, then the Mishnah says, what's if the case is, hayu shneim chashudim? Both of the litigants here are people that are not tzaddikim. They're suspected of lying, and none of them can swear. Not the defendant that would usually swear, not the claimant either. So what happens in such a case? None of them could swear. So now the Mishnah brought a machlekes, right? So the Mishnah brought, in our Mishnah, the version that we have is, just a second, let's see, the Mishnah at the beginning of the Pedic, the version that we have about this is that if both of them are chashudim, so the machlekes is that Rabbi Yossi says, just a second, wait, I have here the lashon of the Mishnah. 1 second. If both of them are chashudim, so the Mishnah had said, Chazra hashvuah lemekayma. David Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi says the shvuah goes back to the original one that was obligated to swear. Now, what exactly you do, he can't actually swear. The Gemara will explain. And Rabbi Meir says yachleiku, that because no one can swear, so the money that they're arguing about will be split between them. That's the version that we have in our Mishnah. Okay. Now on this, the Gemara brings Amalei Rav Nachman Heichitnan. What is the correct version of the Mishnah? Who said what? What was Rabbi Yossi's opinion? What was Rabbi Meir's opinion? So apparently it wasn't clear in what they had, these opinions. Amalei, so Rav Nachman said, Lo Yadaina, I don't know. Then he asked him, so Hilchasamai, what is the halacha in this case? Amalei Lo Yadaina. So he also said that he doesn't know. So the Mefarshim say that if you would know what Rabbi Yossi's opinion is, we would know that the halacha is like Rabbi Yossi. Because the rule is, whenever there's a machlekes between Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Meir, we pass on like Rabbi Yossi. Now itmer, but we learned that Omer Rav Yosef bar Minyomi, Omer Rav Nachman, Rav Yosef bar Minyomi said in the name of Rav Nachman that Rabbi Yosef miyachleiku. Rabbi Yosef is the one that said that in this case where none of them can swear, you split the money. V'chein Tana Rav Zvid bar Oishia, Rabbi Yosef miyachleiku. That Rabbi Yosef is the one that said yachleiku. Or Iked Amri, there's another version for this. Tani Rav Zvid, that Rav Zvid taught a brai said that Omer Rav Oishia. That Rabbi Ishia said, Rabbi Ishia was one of the ones that were Mesader, all the brises, Rabbi Ishia, Rabbi Chia, and Rabbi Ishia, he said that Rabbi Yosef is the one that said that you split it between them. Omer Rav Yosef bar Minyomi, so Rav Yosef bar Minyomi then said, Avad Rav Nachman Uvde, Rav Nachman actually paskin this way in a dinteire yachleiku, that you split the money between them. Okay. And now the Mishnah said, Chazra shvuah lemekayma, that the shvuah goes back to its original source. In our Mishnah we have that this was Rabbi Yossi's opinion, but according to what the Gemara is saying now, this is Rabbi Meir's opinion. What does it mean? The shvuah goes back to its original place, its original source. So what do you do? None of them can swear here. Laheichon chazra. What does this mean? Where is the shvuah going to? Amar Rav Ami. So Rav Ami says, Rabbi Seina Sheba Bavel Amru. Our teachers in Bavel, they taught Chazra Shvuah LeSinai. The Shvuah goes back to Sinai, which means it goes back to Har Sinai, to the Eibishter, that gives Yidden all the mitzvahs. And the Eibishter has Yidden accept the mitzvah of Leis Sigza. Rashi says here, the Lashon, it says that the Yidden accepted with a Shvuah. to fulfill all mitzvahs, including the mitzvah of Lei Sigza, which means that in this case, since none of them can swear, so Bezdin can't do anything about this, and the shvuah, the obligation of the one that was supposed to swear, goes back to the Eibishter, and therefore Bezdin just refrains. And that means that he can't swear, and he'll be potter from paying. No shvuah, no payment. However, our teachers in Eretz Yisrael, they said, what happens in this case? The shvuah goes back to the one that was originally obligated to swear to pater himself. That's, for example, the one that was made to be miktsas. So, and now since he can't swear, what's the halacha? He's going to have to pay. It's shvuah, the obligation remains by him, and now he's going to have to pay the money. So now Rav Papa said about this, Rabbi Seinisha Bavel, who is our teachers in Bavel? Rav Shmuel. This is Rav Shmuel, as the Gemara is going to prove. Rabbi Seinisha Eretz Yisrael, who is our teachers in Eretz Yisrael? Rab Abba. This is Rab Abba. Rabbi Seinisha Bavel, our teachers in Bavel, it's Rav and Shmuel. Where do we see that Rav and Shmuel say that in a case where nobody could swear, then the person will be totally potter? Because the Tanan, in the Mishnah in the beginning of this Perek, one of the halachas about a shvuah, it said, "V'chein haYisayimim." So too, when it comes to Yisayimim, lo yifru ela b'shvuah. If they're coming to collect a loan, they can collect their loan only if they swear. That's what the Mishnah said. Now, v'havinam, the question was asked on this: Miman, these Yisayimim that are coming to collect the loan that was owed to their father, who are they collecting from? If they have a document, a shtar, that the money is owed to their father, and they're taking the shtar and they're bringing it to the bezdin and they're trying to collect money from the borrower, so why would they have to swear if they want to collect this loan? Their father that has a document can collect without a shvuah. They have to swear if they want to collect this loan. Why? The halacha always is that whatever the father could collect, Bezdin comes and backs up, and the tainas, tanina, Bezdin tainas for the Yisayimim, they can collect the same like their father would collect. So why does the Mishnah here say that these Yisayimim have to swear if they want to collect their loan? Ella, says the Gemara, so the answer is hachikama. This is what the Mishnah is saying. That v'chein ha'Yisayimim min ha'Yisayimim, if these Yisayimim want to collect money for a loan, even if they have a shtar, but they're collecting this loan from other Yisayimim, so the borrower himself is not alive anymore. They're collecting it from the Yisayimim of this borrower. Then la'yifru ela b'shvuah, they could only collect this if they swear first to collect this loan. And now this is b'chlal d'alacha. That's another point that it also said in the Mishnah in the beginning of the Perek, that whenever you collect from Yisayimim, similar also when you collect from buyers of a property that was owned previously by a borrower, you have to swear before you come and collect. So here as well, even if it's Yisayimim that are collecting now from these Yisayimim, they have to swear first. That's the pshat in the Mishnah. Now on this, Rav and Shmuel came and explained, Rav and Shmuel Damri Tarvayu, Rav and Shmuel both said, that Lo Yishanu, when could Yisayimim swear and then collect this loan? When was this said? Elo, only if it's a case where Shemeis Malve B'chayi Loive. If the lender died first, when the loive, the borrower, was still alive. Okay, and now the malve never was in a position where he tried to collect money from Yisayimim, because the malve died first. And now it's the Yisayimim that are coming to collect from the Yisayimim of the loive. Then the halacha of the Mishnah will apply. Aval, if the case though is meis loive b'chayi malve, if the borrower died first and the lender is still alive, in such a case, this halacha that the Yisayimim, now if the malva dies afterwards, and now the Yisayimim of the lender want to collect, they cannot collect with a shvuah. Why not? Because kvar is chayiv malva lebnei loy v'shvuah. Because in this case, since the lender was alive when these Yisayimim, when the loiva died, and he wanted to come collect from these Yisayimim, so he, the malva, the lender, he's already chayiv to swear a shvuah to the Yisayimim of the loiva. The ein adam meir shvuah lebanav. And that shvuah that the malva would swear to collect that loan, his children cannot swear this shvuah. What does the Gemara mean to say? So Rashi explains, if the borrower died first, and now there's Yisayimim, and the malva is still alive, he wants to go and collect money from these Yisayimim, even if he has a shtar. What kind of a shvuah does the malva have to swear? The malva has to come and swear, I never got paid my loan. A proper shvuah that he never got paid his loan in order to collect. Now, once the malva dies, that shvuah, his children cannot swear. Because the children cannot swear, we never got paid this loan. They don't know for sure. They could come and swear, our father never told us anything about this. We didn't find any receipts amongst his documents that this loan was paid up. But could they swear the same shvuah that the father, the malva, was chayiv to swear when he was alive? No, they can't. So if the case is that when the malva was alive, he was already chayiv to swear fully and properly that I never got paid this loan, then when the children inherit the right to collect the loan, they won't be able to collect it, because they could only collect the loan if they would be able to swear like what the father could swear, that we never got paid, and that they can't swear, they don't know. But if, though, the case is that the father, the malva, died when the loiva was still alive, so therefore their father never was chayiv to swear anything, because when he was still alive, the borrower himself was alive. In such a case, there's no chiyuv of a shvuah. So now, after the loiva died, now the malva died first, that is. Again, the lender died first, and therefore the children of the lender, their shvuah that they're chayiv to swear right from the beginning is just a simple shvuah. We didn't hear anything. We don't know. We don't know that our father paid up this loan ever. Then the children can swear. But otherwise, the children cannot swear at all. Okay, so now what's the proof from this case that you see that Rav and Shmuel hold that in a case where you cannot swear, you don't collect the loan? Because right over here in this case, Rashi explains, you see here that these Yisayimim of the lender want to collect the money from the Yisayimim of the borrower, but they can't swear. They can't swear that shvuah that their father was obligated to swear, so they can't swear. Rashi actually adds that the children of the loiva cannot swear either. The children of the loiva to come and swear that we don't owe this money, they can't swear that either. They don't know. So nobody could swear here. What's the halacha in this case? The Yisayimim, the children of the loiva, do not pay. So this is a case where you see that there's a chiyuv of a shvuah, and nobody could swear in this case, and the halacha is yipater. So here you see that Rav and Shmuel's opinion is that whenever there's a chiyuv of a shvuah, and no one in the Din Torah could swear, then you're pater. So the same is the pshat in our Mishnah as well. When you have the claimant and the defendant, and they're both choshed, they're both suspected of swearing falsely, so nobody could swear. What's the halacha? Chazra shvul l'mekayme, it goes back to Sinai, which means that you're pater. That's the proof of the Gemara. Okay, now there is a discussion in Rishonim about this, because the proof is not exactly the same kind of a case. In our Mishnah, we're talking about a chiyuv shvuah that originates by the defendant to swear to pater himself. Over here, we're talking about a different kind of a shvuah. This is a shvuah that originally is on the claimant, or the children, the Yisayimim that want to be meitzimam, that want to collect money. So the fact that over here, in this case, when you can't swear in order to collect money, that there won't be any chiyuv to pay, is not the same as the case in our Mishnah, where it's the defendant that was chayiv to swear and he can't swear, that over here in such a case you should say pater. Not exactly the same thing. So the Rishonim say that you have to say that even though it's not the same thing, but they heard from Rav and Shmuel that this is the reason. That any time you can't swear, doesn't make a difference who was chayiv the shvuah, the teveya or the nitva. If you can't swear, chazra shvuah is Sinai, it goes back, and the one that has to pay would be pater. Okay. That's the benegeh to Rabbi Seinu she b'Bava, Rav and Shmuel. Rabbi Seinu she b'Eretz Yisrael, but on the other hand, we said that our teachers in Eretz, I'm sorry, where am I over here? Yeah, our teachers in Eretz Yisrael. So who is the teachers in Eretz Yisrael that said that in this case, when you can't swear, you're going to be chayiv to pay? Who is this? Rab Abba. This is Rab Abba's opinion. Now we had this already before in the Masechta, and we learned this in Baba Basra as well. There was a case with this man, the chotaf nascha mechavre. He grabbed a piece of silver from his friend. Asla kamei Rav Ami. So they came to Rav Ami. Yosef Rab Abba kamei, and Rab Abba was sitting in front of Rab Ami. Now what happened? Aisi chatzade the mechtav chatfa minei. So this individual that was robbed from him, he brought one witness that testified that this piece of silver was robbed from him. Now Amalei, so now the person that actually robbed it said, in chatfi, yes, I grabbed it away from him. But v'didi chatfi, what I grabbed was mine. He stole it from me and I just took it back. So now the question is, how do we paskin in this case? Amar Rav Ami, so Rav Ami says, daini lahai dina. How do judges paskin in such a case? Name alei zil shlim. Shall we say to this person that grabbed this piece of silver, pay? There's an aid that says that you grabbed it, and you are admitting also that you grabbed it, so pay it back. But you can't say that. Lekatrei sadi. There's no two aidim that are saying that he grabbed. Once there's two aidim that say that he grabbed, then he's not believed to say that what I grabbed is mine. If two Eidim say that he grabbed it, then they saw he robbed. He's a gazlan. And if he says it's his, it's worthless. So then he would have to pay. But in this case, though, there's no two Eidim. So if there's no two Eidim that say that he grabbed it, so then this person that now is claiming, yes, I grabbed it, but what I grabbed is mine, should be believed. Why? Because he has a migu. He could have said that I never grabbed it. There's no two Eidim that say that he grabbed it. Now, if so, on the other hand, you would say, niftere. So let's pater him, since there's no two Eidim that are testifying that he grabbed it. But you can't pater him either. Because there's one aid that says that he did grab it. So if he would say, you said before he has a migu, that he could say that I never grabbed it. But if he would say that he doesn't grab it, he's contradicting the words of an Eid Echad. And Eid Echad says that he did grab it. So the Gemara says, there's another option. So Neimelei zil ishtaba. What's the halacha always? When an Eid Echad testifies against someone, he has to swear to contradict the word of the Eid Echad, to pater himself. So over here as well, let them swear to go against the word of the Eid Echad. Says the Gemara, but that doesn't apply here. Kiv in the Alma michtav chatvi, since this person is saying he's agreeing to what the Eid Echad is saying. Yes, I grabbed it like the Eid Echad is saying. Elamai, well, he's adding and saying, but what I grabbed is mine. Havelei kegazlin. He is like a gazlan. What does it mean, havelei kegazlin? So Rashi explained earlier in the Masechta what the Gemara means to say by this is, not that we know that he's a gazlan, because it's only an Eid Echad, but havelei kegazlin means, just like a gazlan, a person that's verified as a gazlan, we do not allow him to swear, his shvuah is not trusted. In this case, you cannot swear if you're not contradicting the word of the Eid Echad. The halacha to swear against the Eid Echad is when you contradict, when you're tying the opposite of what the Eid Echad says. When you agree to what the Eid Echad says, elamai, you're adding that what I grabbed is mine. Over here, the halacha of swearing in the case of Eid Echad does not apply. So they can't swear either. So we can't be mechayev to pay, we can't pater, and they can't swear either. So what do we do in such a case? Then Rab Abba was sitting there. Amalei Rab Abba, so Rab Abba says to Rab Ami about this case, have mechuyev shvuah. Because there's an Eid Echad that's testifying that he grabbed this, and he's a gazlan, so there's an Eid Echad against him, so he is mechuyev shvuah. But ve'en yachal lishava. But because of the nature of his claim, he cannot actually swear, because this kind of claim, you could only swear if you're ready to actually contradict the words of the Eid Echad. But over here, he's not ready to contradict the words of the Eid Echad, so he can't actually swear. Anytime one is obligated to swear, ve'en yachal lishava, and he cannot swear, mishalem. In such a case, the halacha is that you have to pay. In other words, when the Torah gives a person a chiyuv shvuah, it's basically an option. Either you swear, if you cannot swear, for whatever reason, whether the reason that it's said in our Mishnah, because it's a shneim chashudim, they're both suspected, they're lying, or like this case, because of the nature of the claim that he can't actually swear, so in such a case, you pay. That was, so here, this is Rab Abba from Rabbi Seinu Shabbat Yisrael. Omar Rava, so Rava says about this kvasei, that Rab Abba mistavra. It's logical that what Rab Abba says is right, because you can see this based on the following pasuk. The Tani Rab Ami learned from this pasuk, where in the by Shavuos it says Shavuos Hashem Tia Ben Shneim, that there's a Shavuot that should be between the two of them. So this is the pasuk that speaks about the Balei Din by a Moed B'Miktsas, that if one is Moed B'Miktsas Menatayr Yechayev Shavuot, and it says Ben Shneim, between the two of them. What does the two of them mean? Only if the two Balei Dinim, the borrower and the lender, for example, they are here. Between them, then there's a Shavuot. But v'loi ben hayarshin. But amongst, if the argument here now is by the Yisayimim, they are not alive anymore, but now it's the inheritors that are arguing about this, here there's no chiyuv of a Shavuot. That's the drasha that Rabami darshaned. Now, it's not the question over here is, when does such a drasha apply? That you have to have this exclusion, that there's a Shavuot by the fathers and not by the children. Hey Chidami, what's the case? If you're going to say the case over here is by these Yarshim, that one Yerish or Yasam, he says to the other, there's 100 zuz or a money that my father has in your father's hands. And the other Yasam, he responds and says, 50 he owes, and 50 he does not owe. So the Gemara says, what's this kind of a case? He's a Moed B'Miktsas. He's saying, yeah, 50 yes and 50 not. So if this is a case, Mali hu, Mali avua. Why should this case be excluded from the halacha of Moed B'Miktsas? Why would we say that in this case you don't have to swear? Just like if the fathers were alive, and they are both saying a tainis body, he's claiming that you owe me 100, and he's responding, no, half yes, half not, that there's a chiyuv of Moed B'Miktsas. If it's by the children that are saying the same kind of tainis body, and he's a Moed B'Miktsas, why should this be excluded from the shvuah of Moed B'Miktsas? The Rishonim actually add to this that the Gemara here must be speaking about a case of a pekadon. It's not a case of a loan. By a case of a loan, he would be a Meishav Aveda, because the child could have simply said, there's nothing, I don't know about anything, but it's talking there about a pekadon. That's one point that it says in the Rishonim. And another thing that the Rishonim say about this, that when the Gemara says, Mali hu, Mali avua, okay, there's another point that I'm remembering now. But again, so the point that the Gemara is asking is, if it's a simple, clear case of Ma'idah b'miktzas, the second point that the Rishonim say here is that when the Gemara here is saying that these Yisayimim are claiming a tiniest body, they're both claiming like a regular Ma'idah b'miktzas. The case over here is that they're both saying, we were there, but each one of them are claiming, I was there when the money was given to your father. So each one of them are saying, we were present. I saw that it was $100, another one saying, no, it was $50. So okay, that's the point. That's why it's not a Meishav Aveda. They were both actually there. That's what the claim is. So the Gemara is asking, if that's the case, so then this is a regular Ma'idah b'miktzas. So there's no reason to make a distinction between whether the father, Ben Shnei, and whether the Bali Din themselves are there, or it's only their children now. What's the pshat of this exclusion? What's the pshat of this drasha that Rab Ami darshan? Says the Gemara Elalav. So what's the pshat over here? The Amalei, the case here is where these Yershim, one says to the other, Manel Abba b'yad avicha, that your father has $100 that's owed to my father. Amalei, and the other Yerish that is being claimed from him, so he answers, Chamshin Yadayna, v'Chamshin Lo Yadayna. He doesn't answer like a regular Ma'idah b'mitzvahs, 50 yes and 50 no. He doesn't know. He says, 50 I know for a fact, you're right, that my father owes, so he is a Ma'idah b'mitzvahs. But regarding the other 50, he says, I don't know. So now what's the halach in such a case? Is he a Ma'idah b'mitzvahs? He is a Ma'idah b'mitzvahs because he was Ma'idah 50, you're right, is owed. But now regarding the other 50, he didn't deny it 100%, he just says, I don't know. So now, what's the halach in such a case? He's a Ma'idah b'miktzas, but he can't really swear. The Shavuos of a Ma'idah b'miktzas, what is the Shavuos of a Ma'idah b'miktzas? The part that he's kaifer, the part that he denies and says, I don't know, he swears that that's true, that I don't owe it. But over here, regarding the other 50, the Yerush is saying, I don't know. There's no Shavuos minat Torah to say you don't know. So he's a Ma'idah b'miktzas, but you can't actually swear. So now, if you're going to say, like the halacha that Abba said before, that that in such a case where there's a shvuah because it's a Ma'idah b'miktzas, but because he's saying on the part that he's denying, I don't know, you don't swear on you. I don't know. There's no such a shvuah minat Torah. So because you don't actually swear, that doesn't mean the chiyuv of the shvuah leaves. The chiyuv of the shvuah remains. But since you can't swear, you're going to be chayiv to pay. So therefore, it's kral lemiftar gabi yershin. So that's the drasha of the pasuk. That bein shneim in such a kind of case, if it was between the Bali Din themselves, and he was a Ma'idah b'miktzas, and he, regarding the part that he denies, he says, I don't know, it doesn't mean now that he's going to be patur from the shvuah. He's going to be chayiv the shvuah, but because he can't actually swear, he's still going to be chayiv, he'll have to pay. That's the drasha that it's saying. That by the Yarshim, in such a case, they're going to be patur. Only by the Bali Din themselves, you're chayiv, but not by the Yarshim. And as the Rishonim explained, the reason why by the Yarshim you're going to be patur is because a Baal Din himself that says, I don't know, so then what do you mean you don't know? He should know. You're supposed to know. By the Yerushim, if a Yerush says, I don't know, he's not expected to know. It wasn't his business dealings. It wasn't his loan. It was his father's loan. So therefore he's going to be patur. That's the drasha. So it makes sense. But But if we're going to say like what Rav and Shmuel said, then in such a case where you can't swear, because you're saying you don't know, but you still a Ma'idah b'mitzvahs, but you can't b'poil swear. So what happens in such a case is you're totally patur. So kra gabi yershin lamali. So what is the application of this drasha that we're saying that by the father you would be chayiv, but we're excluding that by the yershin you're patur? The father is also patur in such a case. So where does the drasha apply? Either there's the din of Ma'idah b'miktzas by the father and by the children the same, and there's no reason to distinguish between them, or in this case it's also the same that by the father he's patur. And by the children also patur. So there's no drasha here. So therefore, Rav said, from this drasha we see, like what Rav Abba said, that when you can't swear, you're still chayiv. And what happens? You have to pay. Says the Gemara of Rav and Shmuel. How do Rav and Shmuel respond to this? Hi Shavuos Hashem, my kadosh. Since the drasha we darshan before cannot be the drasha, so what would they darshan from this pasuk? And so the Gemara mi bayale look at the Tanya. They darshan from this pasuk what it says in the Brisa. We had it before in the Masechta as well. Shimon ben Tarfon Omer. He said that we darshan Shavuos Hashem Tia Ben Shneim. It is the Shavuot that's between the two of them. Why does it say in the pasuk Ben Shneim? Really, who's the one that swears when he's Ma'adim Miktzah? The defendant, the Ma'adim Miktzah swears. Why does it say Ben Shneim? That the Shavuot that's being the one that swears here, it's something that takes effect for both of them. Meaning both are to blame for the situation that there's a Shavuot that is happening here. And Rashi explained this earlier because even the one that is the claimant that's not swearing, but the fact that he lent money to such an individual that's not trustworthy, and he causes this kind of outcome that he has to swear about this, that's he shares the blame as well, and therefore it says Ben Shneim. Now, the continuation of this brayse, the Gemara here brings other drashis that Shimon ben Tarfon darshan and other psukim. Shimon ben Tarfon said, "As hare lo'oikiv achan noyef minayin." What's a warning for someone that follows or that takes care of someone that's a noyef, someone that has inappropriate relationships with women, and he provides him this that he wants? Minayin, how do we know that this is aser and is in the pasuk in the Torah? Tamad loyma loisinaf, which is referring to the one that's doing the Aveda, but you can also read it as loy sanif. You should not be there to help another, that he should be able to do these inappropriate things. Another drasha that Shimon ben Tarfon darshan, it says in the pasuk vateirognu ba'ohalechem, that you cried and you complained in your tents. This is actually refers to this week's parasha about the story of the Meraglim when they returned from Eretz Yisrael and they complained they don't want to go into Eretz Yisrael, but this pasuk is in Parashas Devarim. So Shimon ben Tarfon Omer, what it means is tartem. You went and you toured the land. You went to Eretz Yisrael, the Meraglim, and then when you came back, v'ginisem ba'al shalmakim. You complained and you embarrassed the oil, the tent of the Eibishter, which is the place where the Shekhinah dwells. So Ahalechem also goes in the tent of the Eibishter. Now another drasha Shimon ben Tarfon darshan, it says in the pasuk Ad Nar Gadoil Nar Paras. There are 4 rivers that the pasuk says, and then it says the Nar Gadoil, the large river, is what? Nar Paras. What does this mean? Now this Nar Paras is actually a smaller river than the others that it mentions. So why is it called Nar Gadol? So Shimon ben Tarfon said, he gave an example for this. Krav legabe dehina, get close to somebody that's anointed with oil, and you will have the good aroma from that oil as well. So what it means here as well is Nahar Paras, even it's the smallest of all the rivers, but because it's closer to Eretz Yisrael, so because of the greatness of Eretz Yisrael, it also gets the name of greatness. It's called the Nahar Gadol. The Beit Rabbi Shmuel Tane, and Rabbi Shmuel said on this, Eved Melech, if you're a servant of a king, Kimelech, or the other gerse here is Melech, then you are like the king himself. Therefore this Nar is a river from Eretz Yisrael, and close to Eretz Yisrael, therefore it gets the name of greatness. Okay, going back to the Mishnah, another case where the Mishnah says the Chachamim instituted the Nishban v'Neitlin, that you can swear and collect through your Shavuot, is a case of Chavni al Pankasai. So the story about Chavni al Pankasai was a case where somebody owed money to his workers, and he approaches a store owner and says, pay my workers, give them produce from your store and I'll reimburse you. What happens? The store owner comes and says, I gave them the produce. He goes to the workers and the worker says, no, we never received them. We never got paid from his produce. So now what's going on over here? Who do we trust? So the Mishnah said in such a case, the store owner, the Chanvini, will swear to the employer, to the Balabas, that he did pay these workers as he asked him to. And the workers will also swear to this employer that no, we actually never got paid from him. And they both will come and collect pay from this Balabas. So it comes out this Balabas loses out, he's going to have to pay twice. And each one of them will swear to him. And as it's explained, the reaon why Chacham were masaking this, they both can swear in such a case, and even though we know for sure that one of them is swearing falsely, but both of them swear to the Balabas and get paid for this. Okay, and the Mishnah brought actually the Benanis argues on this. Benanis says you're allowing both of them to swear. It ends up that someone is lying about this, so you can't have both of them swear. They both get paid, but they can't allow both of them to swear in such a case. Okay, so the Gemara brings Tanya in a brayse we learned. Amar Rebbe. Rebbe said, "Tayrach shvuah zu lama." What's the reason that we're having them both swear this shvuah? So Rebbe doesn't agree to this concept that we should have both of them come to Bezdin and swear. Okay, but it wasn't clear though what Rebbe holds. Does that mean that one of them should swear or none of them should swear? What exactly is the story here? So Amalei Rab Chiya said to Rebbe, Tanina, We learned in the Mishnah, this is in the Mishnah that we in the beginning of the Perek, so Rabbi himself was Masada the Mishnah, and the Mishnah says, Shneim nishbon v'neitlu mi bal habayis. The storekeeper and the worker both swear to the employer, and he has to pay both of them. So that's what Rabbi Chia, that is, told Rabbi. The Gemara says, Kibla minei. Did Rabbi accept this when Rabbi Chia told this to him, and now Rabbi agreed that they both could swear? I like Kibla minei. Or perhaps Rabbi did not accept this. So the Gemara brings Tashema. We learned in a Braisa, the Tanya, the Braisa says, Rabbi says, what happens in such a case? Payalin ishban lechenveni. The workers will not swear to their employer. The Payalin are going to swear to the store owner that he did not pay them. Right, so according to what it says in our Mishnah, the Payalin cannot swear to the Chenveni. The store owner could say, you're swearing to me, I don't have any dealings with you, I don't trust your Shavuos. You have to swear to their employer. And therefore it comes out that the workers swear to their employer, the storekeeper swears to this employer as well. But here in this Braisa it says that, no, Rabbi says that the Payalin do swear to the Chenveni. Right? And the svara here of it is because even though the Payalin have nothing to do with the Chenveni, but when the Chenveni was asked by this Balabas to pay, he should have paid in a responsible manner. What's considered to be paying in a responsible manner? In front of Adam. So that when it comes later back to the Balabas, he can prove, look, I have Adam that I paid. The fact that he paid not in front of Adam, there's a certain negligence on his behalf, that he paid without Adam, so therefore now the Chenveni loses out. According to what Rabbi is saying here in the simple pshat of this Braisa, so therefore the workers swear to the storekeeper, you never paid us, you never gave us anything. Okay, now if you'll say that Rabbi agreed to what Rabbi Chia quoted him from the Mishnah, so then L'Bal Habayis Miboile should have said, like it says in our Mishnah, that the workers swear to the Balabayas, and the store owners also swears to the Balabayas, and they both swear. That's what it should have said. So it seems like that Rabbi did not accept what it says in our Mishnah. Rather, the workers swear to the store owner, and that's it, and they get paid. But Rava says on this, not necessarily is this the pshat in the Braisa. Omar Rava, so Rava says, Payalim nishboin lebalabayis. What Rabbi in the Braisa means to say is, the workers are swearing to the balabayis, but what does this mean? B'mayin mit chenveni. He's adding that when they're going to swear to the balabayis, that they did not get paid from the store owner, we want the store owner to be standing there at that time. Why? So that they should be embarrassed from him. If they're swearing to the employer that has no clue whether they got paid from the store owner or not, it's not so difficult for them to swear falsely. But if the Chenveni himself is standing there, so then they're going to think twice before they swear about this, and therefore what he's saying is the store owner has to stand there in front of them. Okay, the Gemara now brings another halacha, which will connect back to what it said in our Mishnah. Itmer, we learned the following machlekes. Shtei kite edem amakhish zu azu. When you have two sets of Edom that are testifying about a matter and they contradict each other. The example Rashi here says is, two Edom come and say that so-and-so killed someone. Another two Edom come and say, we were there at that very same time and no, he did not kill him. So they're contradicting each other. Definitely one set of Edom are liars. So what happens? We're over here regarding these two sets of Edom. Omar Rav Huna says that, of course, regarding this very case itself, when we're trying to determine whether this person is a murderer or not, so we have a contradiction and we can't trust any of the Edom regarding this case itself. However, regarding another case, Zuba b'fnei atzmo me'ida, this set of Edom, if they want to testify about another story, they can come alone and testify. And the Zuba b'fnei atzmo me'ida. And the other set of Edom can come and testify regarding another case, which means Rav Huna says we apply the cheskas kashrus, that each set of Edom, there's a doubt now, which one of these Edom lied. So if in a case of a suffix, if each group of Edom come themselves and want to testify about another case, they have a cheskas kashrus and they can testify. If you would take one aid from this group and one aid from this group and want to combine them together, then you know definitely one of them is lying, you can't combine them. But each group of Edom can come and testify separately about a different case. However, Rav Chizda says that in such a case where there's a suffix about their kashrus, we don't accept their edus at all, not even separately. Bahadi, Sadi, Shakri, Lomali. Why would you want to accept the words of false witnesses since there's a suffix? We do not apply cheskas kashrus here, and they cannot testify even about any other case separately at all. That's the machlokes here. Okay, so now based on this, the Gemara brings how this would apply regarding a case of a loan. There's different variations of this case, and this will connect back to our Mishnah. Okay, so the Gemara begins and says like this: Shnei Malvin. What's if you have a case where there's two lenders? Shnei Loivin, and also two borrowers, two separate stories. Two people that lent money to two separate people. And also Shnei Shtaris, there's two different documents. And what we're talking about over here is, in connection to the case that we just spoke about, one document has the signature of one set of Eidim, again, these two sets of Eidim that contradicted each other. One document has the signature of one of those Eidim, of one of those groups of Eidim, and the other document has a signature of the other group of Eidim. So could you use both of these documents? Says the Gemara, Hainu Pluktayu. This is an application of the exact case that Rav Huna and Rav Chizda argued about. According to Rav Huna, that each are testifying about a complete different loan, different borrower, different lender, different document. So you could accept the two groups of Eidim. According to Rav Chizda, no, there's a suffix that they're liars. You can't accept these Eidis at all. Another case. What's if it's Malve Veloive? It's the same lender, the same borrower, but a Shnei Shtaris. There's two different loans here with two different documents, but it's all between the same person, one borrower and one lender. What's the halacha in such a case? So over here, everybody would agree, both Rav Huna and Rav Chizda, Yad Baal Ashtar Al Tachtoina. The borrower that has this shtar, so he has the lower hand in this. Because it's all one case, it's considered to be one case, because it's one borrower and one lender. Here, even Rav Huna will agree that, let's say there's the two loans that there is in the shtar. One shtar is $100, another shtar is half, only $50. Which shtar he only could use one shtar, because these two shtaris are signed by these two Eidim that contradicted each other, and one of them is lying. So if it's the same case, meaning it's not mamish the same case, but it's the same borrower and lender, in such a case, you could only collect with one shtar, so you'll only be able to collect the lesser of the two shtaris. Okay, now some Rishonim actually add to this case that it has to be that both of these loans are being brought into the Beis Din at the same time, to be collected at the same time. And therefore, Rav Huna will agree over here, you can't use both of these shtaris. It's not two separate stories, it's one story. Okay, now another case. Shnei Malvin, V'loi ve'echad. What's if the case is that there are two different lenders here, but there's only one borrower? Ushnei shtaris. There are two different documents over here in this case. So what would Rav here, the Gemara is actually discussing Rav Huna's opinion. What would Rav Huna hold about this case? Is this considered to be like two separate cases, and therefore, just like Rav Huna says, if you have the Eidim that were contradicted each other, one signed on one document and the other signed on another document, would I say over here as well that since there's two lenders, so it's two different cases, and you can collect with both of these shtaris? Or would I say that since there's one leiva here, there's one borrower that's losing out from both of these documents, and these two documents are signed by these Eidim that contradicted each other, you can't have this one leiva lose out to pay both of these loans if we know for a fact that one of them is not a valid document, because there's a suffix regarding these two sets of Eidim that signed in both of these documents. So what happens in such a case? Says the Gemara, Hainu Masnisin. We can prove from our Mishnah that in this case, Rav Huna would say that you could use both of these documents. What's the connection to our Mishnah? Just like you say in our Mishnah, that the store owner and the worker both will swear and collect what they claim is theirs from the balabayas, from this employer, even though we know for a fact that one of them is lying, but nevertheless, each one of them, Chachamim instituted, has the right to come and collect, and the balabas is going to have to pay both of them. The same in this case, because it's two lenders and it's two documents that are signed by these Eidim, even though we know for a fact that one of these shtaris are puzzle, but we can't determine which one. And it's two different documents, two different lenders. So even though there's one loive, there's one borrower that's losing out from this, but nevertheless, just like in our Mishnah, this balabas has to pay twice. Over here as well, this one borrower is also going to lose out and is going to have to pay both of these separate documents that have these Eidim signed in it. The last case the Mishnah says is, what's if the case is Beis Loivin? What's if it's two borrowers? The opposite of the case right before this. It's two different borrowers here. But Umal ve'echad. It's the same lender that lent money to two different people. Ushnei shtaris. And it's two different documents. What's going to be the halacha in this case according to Rav Huna? Are we going to say that since it's two different borrowers and it's two different shtaris, so this is the case where Rav Huna says that these two Eidim that signed one shtar and the other two Eidim that signed the other shtar, they contradicted each other. They're puzzle. One of them is puzzle. But nevertheless, because it's two borrowers and two shtaris, so therefore it's going to be accepted, like Rav Huna says, that each one could come separately. Or no, because it's one lender. It's one lender that's holding both of these shtaris in his hand. He cannot use these two shtaris as one lender that has these two different sets of edim that contradicted each other, and one of them is pasul, he cannot collect with this. So here, this is the case where the Gemara asks the shaila, and the Gemara says, Teiku, this remains unresolved. Okay, let's just finish off this sugya. One more piece here. The Gemara now will ask a question on Rav Chisda's opinion. Again, a point Rav Chisda said is, anytime you have edim that contradicted each other, they are pasul, they cannot testify at all for any other case in the future, even if they're coming separately. So on this Masav Rav Huna Bar Yehuda asked regarding the halacha of edus by Kiddush HaChedesh that are coming to say edus for the new moon, for the new month. So the Mishnah says, what's if the case is Echad Omer Gavoya Beis Mardois? One of these two edim that are testifying about the new moon that he saw, that the height of this moon that he saw, it seemed to be to him in the height of 2 mardois. Mardois is the goad that's used, an ox goad, which is used by the plowing. So that's the kind of height that he saw the appearance of the moon. But another aid says a little different. He says shalish. It was the height of 3 of these ox goads. Edus and kayemes. The discrepancy between them is not big enough. There's a margin of error over here. It could appear to be 2 or 3, so therefore they're still believed they can be accepted as an edus. However, if if one of the Edom say that it seemed to be 3 of that lengths of this goad in the height, and the other one says no, it's the length of 5, here the discrepancy is too large, and they do some betela. So they're contradicting each other. So therefore their edus will be batal, and then it concludes and says, umitztarfin le'edus acheres. However, they could combine to testify by a different edus. Now, what does this mean? So, my love, don't you think that what it's saying over here is le'edus mami, that even if these two edim contradicted each other, but nevertheless, each one of these edim can go and testify in a different case regarding a money matter, regarding another case. So this is a question what Rav Chisda said. Rav Chisda said, when you have two edim that contradict each other, since there's a suffix that one of them is pasul, one of these groups of pasul, they can't ever testify again for any other case. So over here as well, according to Rav Chisda, if you have one group of edim and the edim are contradicting each other, they can't ever testify regarding another case. So the Gemara says that's not the pshat in what it says here. Omar Rav explains what it means is you have these two edim and they're contradicting each other regarding this Kiddush HaChedesh. But we want to save this edus. So what do we do? What it means is, what we could do is take one of these edus that are testifying about this new moon that he saw, and you could combine it with one more aid that will say like he says. So there's one aid that says that he saw it like the height of 3. Combine one more aid to him that will back up what he said. And then what will happen is, now you have the words of 2 against 1. 2 was saying that it was like the height of 3, and one is only saying that it was like the height of 5, and then it's going to be 2 against 1. That's what this Mishnah is saying. If you want to try to save this eidos, bring one more that will back up the words of one of them, and then it'll be good. Because the words of one that's not contradicting these 2 has no value if it's against 2. That's what it's saying. But to go and testify in another case, that's not what it's talking about over here. So there's no question on Rav Chisda.